This is Chaitanya Charitamrta Adi-Lila. Just a moment, I am getting some delay from my computer here.
Ask these two slokas.
Okay, Chaitanya Charitamrta Adi-Lila, chapter 17, text 13. So this is a description of Lord Nityananda's pastimes. Last time we discussed who is Nityananda, he is Balaram, who is Chaitanya, who is Krishna. In the pastimes of Lord Ram, Krishna takes the avatar or form of Ram, and Balaram becomes Lakshman. So how exactly these forms relate to each other will be very scrutinizingly examined in the coming discussions uh, in the same Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahaprabhu will teach Sanatana Goswami. So today we begin with text 13. The Sloka is as follows. Prathame Shad Bhujatare Dekhaila Ishvara Shankha Chakra Gada Padma Sharanga Venudhara. Translation. One day Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited to Lord Nityananda Prabhu a six-armed form bearing a conch shell, disc, club, lotus flower, bow, and flute. Of these, the conch shell, disc, club, and lotus, these are the standard four objects exhibited by Vishnu. Vishnu is traditionally shown in a four-armed form, but of course, Krishna can have 2, 4, 6, 8 unlimited hands, as he showed to Arjuna in the Virat Rupa in the Bhagavad Gita. Text 14. Tabe chatur bhujo hoila tina anga vakra dui haste venu bajai duve shankha chakra. Thereafter, the Lord showed him his four-armed form, standing in a three-curved posture. This three-curved posture is the shoulders are bent, the waist is bent, and then first the neck is bent, the shoulders are bent, and the waist is bent. So it's called Trivakra, three bends, Tribhanga. It's very beautiful. Normally in our temples, Radha Madhav, Radha Rani, Krishna Balram temple, Radha Shyam Sundar. Krishna is shown in a three-way bending form. It's one of his most famous postures. With two hands, he played upon a flute, and in the other two, he carried a conch shell and disc. 15. Tabeta Dvibhuja Kevalavam Shivadan Shamanga Pita Vastra Brajendra Nandan. Finally, the Lord showed Nityananda Prabhu his two-armed form of Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda, simply playing on his flute, his bluish body dressed in yellow garments. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mangal vividly elaborates upon this description. So we also find sometimes Prabhupada choosing not to go deep into a particular description just because some other book has already done it in a very detailed way. Uh, we don't have the Chaitanya Mangal with us right now, but if necessary, I can bring it later. Text 16. Tabe Nityananda Gosair Vyasa Pujan Nityananda Veshe Kaila Mushala Dharan. Nityananda Prabhu then arranged to offer Vyas Puja or worship of the spiritual master to Lord Sri Gaurasundar. But Lord Chaitanya carried the plow-like weapon called Mushal in the ecstasy of being Nityananda Prabhu. Purport. By the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu arranged for the Vyasa Puja of the Lord on the night of the full moon. He arranged for the Vyasa Puja or Guru Puja through the agency of Srivas Thakur. Since Vyasdev is the original Guru, spiritual master of all who follow the Vedic principles, worship of the spiritual master is called Vyasa Puja. Nityananda Prabhu arranged for the Vyasa Puja and Sankirtan was going on. But when he tried to put a garland on the shoulder of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he saw himself in Lord Chaitanya. There is no difference between the spiritual positions of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu or Krishna and Balram. All of them are but different manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. During this special ceremony, all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand that there is no difference between Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu. Just a little bit of a discussion here. Is the spiritual master God? Well, he's not. He's a normal person, normal human being like you and me, two hands, two legs, eats, sleeps, uses the restroom, falls sick, even leaves the body due to old age or disease. So then why give him any kind of special consideration? Throughout the ages, people have confused whether to have a teacher or not. There are some who say that why you need a teacher? You and God, that's it. But one of the cornerstones of a healthy spiritual understanding is you try to, like, almost every path emphasizes humility, the virtues of humility. The word for a servant is das. So somebody is Ananda Baldev Das, Shyamananda Das. For a female, it is Dasi, Radhika Rati Dasi. So you're not Radhika Rati, you are the servant of the affection for Radharani expressed by Krishna. I am not Shyamananda. Shyamananda is, one meaning is one who gives pleasure to Shyama, that is Krishna. Or Krishna is called Shyam, then one who gives pleasure to Krishna. I am the servant of that particular relationship or mood. Or Ananda Baladev, the happiness of Lord Baladev. So once Prabhupada joked to one devotee, he was having a lot of questions about his name. And Prabhupada said, anyway, there are two parts to your name, right? Something, something, ABCD and Das. And he says the first part may not be that much important to you, but the second one is. Never forget the second part. So, like in a football or a soccer game, on the backside is the name of the player, and on his chest is the name of the team. There is a number and his name, and his on the front side is his own name, is the team's name. So coaches tell them what's behind is not important as what's in the front. You are a member of the team. You are just one of them. So if you are united, you will succeed. Something similar goes with a spiritual society. We are all dasas, we are all dasis, and even if one of us tries to become the Lord, then the community could be disturbed, at least destroyed, if that disturbance becomes too acute. So we'll go back to 1965. Swamiji Srila Prabhupada has arrived in New York, and after a lot of struggle, there is a small room on Second Avenue, and there are classes held Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and there is discussion, and there is some prasadam distribution. Sometimes it was as simple as one apple to be cut into 12 pieces, mind you, and 11 students in front of him, and Prabhupada, the 12th, and they would take one small piece, and that would be the prasad for the day. So these boys and girls, they have seen so much. They are the flower generation, love, peace. They don't want war. They don't want material comforts. They come from good homes, but they have given up their American middle class culture. Many are experimenting with psychedelic drugs, and there are many personalities who would claim to be in the position of a guru, but would actively teach that you don't need gurus. You are the one. You have everything within you. So naturally, the questions would go to this topic. Swamiji, who is a guru? Are you our guru? Are you God? And Prabhupada decided to take the heavy route. So one day he said, anyone who claims to be God is just the opposite. He's not God, he's Dog. And that was a very heavy thing, my God. So he said, how can a living entity who is mired knee deep in Maya and illusion is accepting one body after another? He cannot even save himself. How can he claim to be God? Our claim is to become godly, not God. So for some, it was quite a revelation, and oh, all right, we will not claim to be God, no issues. And one day, Prabhupada popped the topic of initiation, and the followers were thinking, "Hey, what do you mean by initiation?" Well, we have an informal relationship with the Swami, and now it is going to be formalized. No, but why should we? When somebody said, I just prefer like this. We come 3 days a week. We love the Swami. We love his talks about India, Indian society, Indian women, Indian food. It was so exotic. Everything, the food which Swami cooked was simply superb. They had never tasted anything like that. And one day they asked the question, Swamiji, what is initiation? So Prabhupada said, initiation means you formalize your commitment to the process. You agree to chant every day, follow the rules and regulations, and you accept your spiritual master as God. Oh, that was a thunderbolt. For the last few weeks, he's teaching that no one should be called God, nobody is God. And now he's saying we should, I mean, it's all right to see an old man from India and respect him, but to accept him as God, oh, that's too much. So the next Bhagavad Gita discussion, somebody just said, Swamiji, does it mean that the spiritual master becomes God? And Prabhupada said, no, I never taught that. The spiritual master, I am a mere mortal. And he would say that I may leave any time, I'm very old, so I want you to train up. So how do you have this adjustment? You are not God, we have to accept like God. So Prabhupada said, The spiritual master is to be respected like God because he is the dearmost servant of God. In no situation the spiritual master becomes God, but he's given the respect. Sakshat haritvena samasta shastre ruktas kintu prabhorya priya eva. Because he is dear to the Lord, therefore he is respected as God. And then over the years, Prabhupada would teach them that I am respecting my Guru, is it not? So why should you have problem respecting the Guru? And slowly as devotees started understanding more and more, rather than calling a Guru, they would they were trained that the Guru, the Guru Tattva, the truth of Guru rather than a Guru. Like this person is Guru. More correctly, this person is representing the eternal truth of Guru. Is it very difficult to understand? In our daily lives, if a cop stops you and you say, all right, are you respecting the person, John Smith cop, or are you respecting what he represents, the entire traffic police organization? More clearly, you have nothing to do with that person. You may not even know his name, you may not even seen him before, but he represents a particular, he's an agent for a particular truth. That's how we see. And so then how many gurus there can be? In Prabhupada's time there was only one. But Prabhupada says no, there is no essential difference between your guru and my guru, because they both represent the tattva. Tattva means the truth. So therefore, you'll always find in Chaitanya Charitamrita small incidents, like very small. Here, of course, this 17 chapter, it has more than 300 verses, and all of them are, as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, that my dear readers, I'm just going to summarize incidents. If something is already done by someone like Chaitanya Mangal or Chaitanya Bhagavat, then I would not do that here. I don't want to bloat this book. I don't want to make it too much wordy, but I want to give the essence of everything. So these are some thoughts on this small incident of Vyasa Puja. Any questions, comments? All right. Would someone like to read from the next verse?
I, I
Which
can read from.
read only translation. Okay.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Please, Prabhuji, go ahead because I thought.
No, Mataji, please. I read all. Last time also, you read this time.
Thank you, Prabhuji. But translation only I can read. Is it okay,
Sure,
Prabhuji?
sure. Yes, yes. All of you bear in mind whatever you are comfortable with. If you are just comfortable with the translation purport, no issues. Go ahead with that.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. A translation. Thereafter, Mother Sachidevi saw the brothers Krishna and Balarama in their manifestation of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. Then the Lord delivered the two brothers Jagai and Madai. Purport. By his divine grace, Siddhanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One night, Sachi Devi dreamt that the deities in her house, Krishna and Balarama, had taken the forms of Chaitanya and Nityananda and were fighting one another, as children do, to eat the Naivedya or offering to the deities. The next day, by the will of Lord Chaitanya, Sachi Devi invited Nityananda to take prasadam at her house. Thus, Vishwambara, Lord Chaitanya, and Nityananda were eating together, and Sachidevi realized that they were none other than Krishna and Balarama. Seeing this, she fainted. Jagai and Madai were two brothers born in Navadvipa in a respectable Brahmana family who later became addicted to all kinds of sinful activities. By the order of Lord Chaitanya, both Nityananda Prabhu and Haridasa Thakura used to preach the cult of Krishna consciousness door to door. In the course of such preaching, they found Jagai and Madai, two maddened drunken brothers, who upon seeing them began to chase them. On the next day, Madai struck Nityananda Prabhu on the head with a piece of earthen pot, thus drawing blood. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard of this, he immediately came to the spot, ready to punish both brothers. But when the all-merciful Lord Gauranga saw Jagai's repentant behavior, he immediately embraced him. By seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face and embracing him, both the sinful brothers were at once cleansed. Thus they received initiation into the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra from the Lord and were delivered. Text 18. After this incident, the Lord remained in an ecstatic position for 21 hours, and all the devotees saw his specific pastimes. Purport. In the deity's room, there must be a bed for the deity behind his throne. This system should immediately be introduced in all our centers. It does not matter whether the bed is big or small. It should be of a size the deity room can conveniently accommodate. But there must be at least a small bed. One day in the house of Srivasa Thakura, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down on the bed of Vishnu, and all the devotees worshipped him with the Vedic mantras of the Purusha Sukta, beginning with Sahasra Shirsha Purusha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapad. This Veda Stuti should also be introduced if possible for installations of deities. While bathing the deity, all the priests and devotees must chant this Purusha Sukta and offer the appropriate paraphernalia for worshipping the deity, such as flowers, fruits, incense, arati, paraphernalia. Naivedya, Vastra, and ornaments. All the devotees worshipped Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this way, and the Lord remained in ecstasy for 7 praharas or 21 hours. He took this opportunity to show the devotees that he is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna, who is the source of all other incarnations, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Matta Sarvam Pravartate. All the different forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or Vishnu Tattva emanate from the body of Lord Krishna. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exposed all the private desires of the devotees, and thus all of them became fully confident that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Some devotees call this exhibition of ecstasy by the Lord Sata Prahariya Bhava, or the ecstasy of 21 hours, and others call it Mahabhava Prakasha or Mahaprakasha. There is a description of this Sata Prahariya Bhava in the Chaitanya Bhagavata Madhya Kanda, chapter 9, which mentions that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed a maidservant named Dukhi with the name Sukhi. He called the Kolaveka Sridhara and showed him his Mahaprakasha. Then he called for Murari Gupta and showed him his features at Lord Ramachandra. He offered his blessings to Haridasa Thakura, and at this time he also asked Advaita Prabhu to explain the Bhagavad Gita as it is, Gitara Satyapata, and showed special favor to Mukunda. One day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt the ecstasy of the boar incarnation and got up on the shoulders of Murari Gupta. Thus they both danced in Murari Gupta's courtyard. One day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to cry out, Sukara, Sukara, thus crying out for the boar incarnation of the Lord. He assumed his form as the boar incarnation and got up on the shoulders of Murari Gupta. He carried a small gadu, a small water pot with a nozzle, and thus he symbolically picked up the earth from the depths of the ocean, for this is the pastime of Lord Varaha. After this incident, the Lord ate raw rice given by Suklambara Brahmachari and explained very elaborately the import of the Harer Nama sloka mentioned in the Bran Naradhiya Purana. Suklambara Brahmachari resided in Navadvipa on the bank of the Ganges. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing in ecstasy, he approached the Lord with a begging bag containing rice. The Lord was so pleased with his devotee that he immediately snatched the bag and began to eat the raw rice. No one forbade him, and thus he finished the entire supply of rice. In this age of Kali, there is no other means for self-realization than chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name of the Lord Hari. In this age of Kali, the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Simply by chanting the holy name, one associates with the Lord directly. Anyone who does this is certainly delivered. This verse repeats the word Eva certainly 3 times for emphasis, and it also 3 times repeats Harer Nama, the holy name of the Lord, just to make common people understand. To emphasize something to an ordinary person, one may repeat it 3 times, just as one might say, you must do this, you must do this, you must do this. Thus the Thus, the Bran Naradiya Purana repeatedly emphasizes the chanting of the holy name so that people may take it seriously and thus free themselves from the clutches of Maya. It is our practical experience in the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world that many millions of people are factually coming to the spiritual stage of life simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra regularly according to the prescribed principles. Therefore, our request to all our students is that they daily chant at least 16 rounds of this Harer Nama Mahamantra offenselessly, following the regulative principles. Thus, their success will be assured without a doubt. The use of the word Kevala only prohibits all other processes such as the cultivation of knowledge, practice of mystic yoga, or performance of austerities and fruitive activities. Our Krishna consciousness movement stresses the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra only, whereas those who do not know the secret of success for this age of Kali unnecessarily indulge in the cultivation of knowledge, the practice of mystic yoga, or the performance of fruitive activities or useless austerities. They are simply wasting their time and misleading their followers. When we point this out very plainly to an audience, members of opposing groups become angry at us. But according to the injunctions of the Shastras, we cannot make compromises with these so-called jnanis, yogis, karmis, and tapasvis. When they say they are as good as we must say that only we are good and that they are not good. This is not our obstinacy. It is the injunction of the Shastras. We must not deviate from the injunctions of the Shastras. This is confirmed in the next verse of the Caitanya Charitamrita. This verse clearly states that anyone who accepts any other path cannot be delivered. This is the reason for the triple repetition, nothing else, nothing else, nothing else, which emphasizes the real process of self-realization. To chant the holy name always, one should be humble than the grass in the street and devoid of all desire for personal honor, but one should offer others all respectful obeisances. A devotee engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord should practice forbearance like that of a tree. Even if rebuked or chastised, he should not say anything to others to retaliate. For, for even if one cuts a tree, it never protests, and even if it is drying up and dying, it does not ask anyone for water. This practice of forbearance, taror eva sahishnuna, is very difficult. But when one actually engages in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, the quality of forbearance automatically develops. A person advanced in spiritual consciousness through the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra need not practice to develop it separately. For a devotee develops all good qualities simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra regularly.
Just a small thing, Vedic culture gives a lot of emphasis on understanding things in proper perspective. So, the birth of a tree is considered to be the reaction for being very dull and not very alert, not very active, or too much engrossed in dull activities of the body, just eat, sleep, mate, defend. Especially Prabhupada said if somebody is exposing their body, then the reaction is material nature gives you a body where you are exposed throughout your life. Now just try to understand, nobody is totally good and totally bad in a material sense. Everybody has a mixed bag of qualities. If a tree's birth is like simply condemned, Mahaprabhu would not have said, chant in the mood of a tree. Now, how do we chant in the mood of a tree? What does a tree have that can help us? So the first and foremost quality is forbearance or tolerance. And I mean, as kids, we were told all these stories. There's a story of a woodcutter who just has the blade because his handle got rotten. So he comes to a tree and the tree says, you cut one of my branches, use that as a handle, and then you can cut me down. Now just imagine, it's why would you willingly give somebody the means to destroy you? It is said that the sandalwood tree, when it is cut down by the axe blade, by the time the job is done, the woodcutter finds that the axe blade also has a sweet fragrance of sandalwood. So we need to have this kind of a 360-degree angle of looking at things. At least materially speaking, if something is said to be good, it may also have a counter quality. If something is called as bad, that will also have a uh, balancing quality. So at least regarding one of the fundamental core concepts of Hare Krishna philosophy is to chant. And in that chanting process, Mahaprabhu glorified something as dull or ignorant or uh, can't even move. The living entity cannot even move. He is in that body for sometimes 10, 50, 60, 100 or hundreds of years. There is a reserved park called, what is it called? It's near California. It's on the outskirts of the city. Sequoia National Park. Oh, it's a national park, correct. And it has those giant sequoia trees. They're not found any other continent, mainly the giant trees. There is a tree and there is a road going beneath the tree. I mean, the wood is cut in such a way that a car can pass. You can imagine how big those trees could be. And some of them are said to be 5,500 years old, whatever. So Radhanath Maharaj once took a group of devotees and told them that these trees have been witness to world events right from the Mahabharata times, Bhagavad Gita times. So how would you express your feelings and write a letter to the tree? So it was a picnic. Devotees were chanting, dancing, singing, feasting, and then this exercise was done. So devotees expressed their heartfelt emotions that, my dear tree, you have witnessed such and such, you have witnessed this, you have witnessed that, and so many living entities came in so many different kinds of bodies, and we don't know where they came from, we don't know where they have gone, but you are here. So we kind of salute you. We please teach me the quality of forbearance. It was very sweet. I just thought I remembered this, so I'll just share. Yes, Mataji, please continue. Any points to discuss before we continue?
Yes, Prabhuji, can I ask one question?
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, we read the stress was given on chanting Hare Nam, Hare Nama, Hare Nama.
Yes.
So, and in Srila Prabhupada books, whatever books we read, every alternate page, Prabhupada mention all the time that always chant, so how much time of our day, for example, if I'm spending 5 hours or 10 hours in a day to do some kind of Krishna conscious activities, how much time I should spend on chanting, because that is the process is mentioned here. So uh, can you please guide us on that?
Okay. Good question. Many times the emphasis is on, oh, how do I finish my chanting? Is it not that you just want to get over and done with? Now I can do something tangible. Now I can do something important. Our chanting is divided into two parts. There is the personal meditation called japa, and there is a collective Hare Krishna chanting called kirtan or sankirtan. Over the years, I have seen devotees broadly divided into, very broadly speaking, some prefer the personal meditation and they're not so much into chanting together, but they do whenever there is a chance. And there are others who like to sit and chant with a whole group for 4 hours, 5 hours, no issues. But if you tell them that do your personal japa, oh, I always struggle with that. So seems to be a partly a matter of taste and partly our conditioning. Now there is a slight edge, slight, not too much, on the congregational chanting. When we chant with 3, 4 or more people, it need not be 300. You and your family, or even a virtual sangha, even online you are with people, and that also is good. That has the added advantage of being in the association of devotees. That is the biggest thing. I don't know in America, but in India we have personal meditation groups, like 6, 7, 8 people would link up, and every week it is somebody's turn to wake everybody up. Just a small reminder and they all sit together. They may not even hear each other, but like on a split screen, they can see 6, 7 devotees chanting. It is just the feeling that I am not alone. I am with my community. I am with my friends. I am with kindred spirits. I am with people who have the same goal as me in my life, and that could be an important part of your life sometimes. Now comes the time of how much time. If you see Prabhupada's answers, they would be, oh, Swamiji, I don't have so much time. I'm very busy. So Prabhupada would say, chant 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just make a beginning. And if somebody goes a little bit too enthusiastic and say, oh, Swamiji, I could chant for 2 hours, then Prabhupada would say, 2 hours? You should be chanting 24 by 7. So anytime you feel dejected, Prabhupada is there as a kind grandfather to perk you up, to lift you up. But a little bit of pride into what you are doing, and as a guru, Prabhupada would cut your pride down. So, as a grihastha, you could be having your business, profession, family responsibilities, bills to be paid. Do not take that as your permanent reality. Always divide your life as a short term reality, mid term reality, long term reality. So, someone has a baby. How do you counsel that mother? Can she say that I want to fast for Ekadashi, I want to read 2 hours extra? Impossible. Impossible. The moment she starts chanting, the baby starts crying. The babies, if you have a growing kid, then their needs are there. Hey, but what about your kids are going to college? Now you don't need to change their diapers, or you need to ask them, did you eat this or did you eat that? So, if you divide your life into these three phases and check your short term reality that I need to work hard. Like I've seen some Indian families in America, oh, and I need to send money back for my sister's wedding, brother's wedding, for my parents' medical expenditure. It could be anything, or you want to buy a house, therefore you are struggling hard, 2 jobs, 3 jobs. These are all part of, I have seen devotees' life in America. It could be a bit different for you here and there. So whether it is a money situation, education situation, sickness, social life, I mean social events, marriage or whatever, they will always come. They may disrupt the status quo, but if you put them in the category of a temporary reality, it's only for 6 months, 2 years, whatever. So plan your spiritual life accordingly, so that you don't get surprised by something. Um, and then when you organically push all departments, number one, your daily sadhana, your daily meditational practice. Secondly, your association with the community. Thirdly, your particular seva. You could be just giving charnamrit at the temple, or cleaning the lawn, or buying groceries, or buying flowers. It could be anything. When all of these boxes get ticked, you will find that with that kind of a commitment, the holy name is Krishna, the holy name is a person. And just like a person reciprocates, Harinam Prabhu will also reciprocate with you. And that growth, whether from 2 rounds to 8, or 8 to 12, or 12 to 16, or even more, that will be an organic growth process. It won't be, you won't be feeling mentally exhausted, because that is one thing where one of our great acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, cautions before making big time resolutions. Next month onwards, I'm going to chant 3 hours every day. Hey, don't. If you cannot make it, you will call yourself a failure, and your ego won't be able to take that. What if you tell in front of a whole community that I'm going to do that? So Vishwanath Chakravarti says, be very cautious and careful in making commitments. You have to keep on making them, but be cautious. Best is ask a good friend for advice. That Prabhu, you know, Mataji, you know me, how I am. What do you think is good for me? That is one you can get feedback. First, you can know yourself. Go deep into the reasons why you are taking up a particular service, especially chanting. Haridas Thakur's episode later will see that one of the things which Srila Prabhupada and his spiritual master condemned is chanting for glory, chanting for being recognized as a, what do you say, as a big chanter or a very glorious devotee or whatever. So be careful with that. We chant so that we are away from name and fame, and then we chant for name and fame. It's a very confusing kind of a contorted kind of a thing. So these are some thoughts.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We have some time for a few verses more.
Shall I continue, Prabhuji?
Yes, sure.
Thus, a Vaishnava should not ask anything from anyone else. If someone gives him something without being asked, he should accept it. But if nothing comes, a Vaishnava should be satisfied to eat whatever vegetables and fruits are easily available. One should strictly follow the principle of always chanting the holy name, and one should be satisfied with whatever he gets easily. Such devotional behavior solidly maintains one's devotional service. One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor at is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. The grass is specifically mentioned in this verse because everyone tramples upon it, yet the grass never protests. This example indicates that a spiritual master or leader should not be proud of his position. Being always humble than an ordinary common man, he should go on preaching the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Raising my hands, I declare, everyone please hear me. String this verse on the thread of the holy name and wear it on your neck for continuous remembrance. When chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, in the beginning one may commit many offenses, which are called Nama Bhasa and Namaparada. In this stage, there is no possibility of achieving perfect love of Krishna by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Therefore, one must chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra according to the principles of above verse. Trinad api Sunisena Taror Iva Sahishnuna. One should note in this connection the chanting involves the activities of the upper and lower lips as well as the tongue. All three must be engaged in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The words Hare Krishna should be very distinctly pronounced and heard. Sometimes one mechanically produces a hissing sound instead of chanting with the proper pronunciation with the help of the lips and tongue. Chanting is very simple, but one must practice it seriously. Therefore, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta, Krishnadas Kaviraja Goswami, advises everyone to keep this verse always strung about his neck.
So we will stop here for today. Just see, Chaitanya Charitamrita purports were written in 1973 or 4 something, So Prabhupada has seen his flock, how they are chanting. He has seen them chanting in the temple hall, and he has noticed that sometimes people just. So he said, "Hey, what is this? You should not be just making a hissing sound." And therefore, I have this particular purport is very special. Prabhupada is like a recipe teaching us: use your lips, use your tongue, pronounce it clearly, hear what you're saying. Just see the amount of videos, the number of videos about controlling your mind and calming your mind, millions of them. And there are so-called teachers who teach you how to do this in 3 minutes or 2 minutes. There is one story where one devotee came to Prabhupada and said that mind is always disturbed. My mind is always disturbing. It is all over the world. Once I sit to chant, it just runs around. And Prabhupada said, look, when you chant, you use your tongue to pronounce the name Krishna, Rama, and use your ears to hear that. It's all done by you. You produce the sound and you hear it. And then he said, where is the question of the mind? Let the mind go wherever it wants. So the problem is not that the mind goes wherever it wants. The problem is we go after the mind wherever it goes. And that takes some effort. How much time do you think we need to perfect our chanting? This is not documented anywhere, but at least two devotees say that they heard it from Prabhupada 4 decades at least. So it's not an easy thing, it's a long haul. And Prabhupada assured, if you are serious, you can do that in a moment. The passage from the darkest region of this material world to the all bright, blissful Krishna Loka, the spiritual world, that is not, it's not like the farther you are, the longer it takes. Less than a moment. Spiritual potency is that powerful. But normally it doesn't happen like that. It takes, we have to go to the school of hard knocks, what to do, earn our diploma there. Prabhupada once said, easy come, easy go. If somebody just checks the process in a week or a month and, oh, how nice, I'm chanting, I'm reading, I'm this, I'm doing this. He said, easy come, easy go. Better you slow and steady wins the race. So that also is true. So thank you all very much. Vancha kalpataru vescha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.